People in Old Umuchi used to whisper that the dry season nights carry things no eyes should ever see. They said between 12 a.m. and 4 a.m., spirits roamed freely, especially during the Harmattan, when witches were said to return from their midnight gatherings. Amora never believed any of it. Not until the night she opened her door at 3:30 a.m. and came face to face with something darker than anything she'd ever imagined. It was standing on the ground. Not flying. Not crawling. Just there. Half human, half monstrous. The moment Amara looked into its dull, fogged, dead-looking eyes, her whole world snapped into darkness. Her sight vanished instantly. Her tongue locked in her mouth. The right side of her body grew weak and twisted. From that night on, something she never invited began to follow her like a shadow. What Amara didn't know was that what she saw wasn't just a strange creature. It was a witch returning from a midnight coven in bat form. And she had opened her door at the worst possible time. Once upon a time, there lived a young woman named Amara. Her life was simple, not foolishly simple, but quiet and gentle. She was the kind of girl you met once and immediately felt at peace around. Soft-spoken, respectful, hardworking. Elders would bless her whenever she passed by. She lived with her mother, Mama Ife, in a small Rumampala home at the far edge of their community in Old Umuchi. Their compound was the type where children chased one another freely by day and elders sat outside at dusk, swapping old tales and new worries. Life wasn't easy, but they managed. They survived on little, trusted God for the rest, and didn't trouble anybody. Amara had finished secondary school 2 years earlier, but getting a job felt like trying to climb a rocky mountain with bare hands. She dropped applications in churches, schools, business centers, supermarkets. She even tried casual cleaning work, anything to support her mother. But rejection greeted her at every turn. Then one day, unexpectedly, she got a job as a receptionist at a small real estate office in a nearby district, New Koru Estate Consort. It wasn't a big company, but to Amora, it was everything: her first job, her first salary, her first real step into adulthood. There was just one problem. The office was very far. Every morning she took 2 buses, sometimes 3 if the second bus wasn't showing up. And because the boss did not tolerate lateness at all, she built a strict morning routine. Wake up at 3:45 a.m. Sweep the compound. Warm water for her mother's bath. Bathe quickly, dress neatly. Catch the first bus by 5 a.m. Everyone in the compound knew how early she woke. They admired her discipline, but they also worried. Whenever she stepped out at those hours, someone always said, "Amora, stop opening that door before 4 o'clock. Oh, strange things move about during Harmattan." Or, "My daughter, that is when witches walk around. There are things human beings are not meant to see." Amora would smile politely and brush it off. "Auntie, nothing will happen. I just need fresh air and an early start for work." She believed evil only touched those who went looking for it. She wasn't calling any spirits. She just wanted to go to work and help her mother. Old women's warnings about things that walk at night and spirits riding on the Harmattan breeze meant nothing to her. But that night, the night everything changed, she learned that not everything elders say is superstition. Some warnings are rooted in experience. The day had been painfully hot, the kind of dry season heat that drinks water from your skin until you feel like cracked clay. By evening, the entire community felt roasted beneath the harsh, dusty wind. Corrugated roofs rattled, dust spiraled through the air, and people came outside fanning themselves with anything they could hold. Inside the room she shared with her mother, Amora couldn't sleep. She lay on her narrow bed, tossing and turning. Sweat rolled down her back. Even the pillow felt like it had been on fire. She flipped it, searching for a cool side, nothing. She sat up and fanned herself with the end of her wrapper. "God, this heat is too much," she muttered. She checked her phone. 3:29 a.m. Her alarm was set for 3:45 a.m., but sleep had refused her anyway. She sighed. In the corner of the room, Mama Ife snored softly. The fan was useless, the lights had gone off since evening. The air in the room felt trapped, heavy, and suffocating. "Let me just open the door small," Amora whispered. "Maybe breeze will enter." Her hand hovered for a moment as the elder's warnings echoed in her mind. "Never open your door before 4 a.m. in dry season." She rolled her eyes a little. "Please," she muttered. "It will not kill me here." Still wearing her nightdress, she tiptoed to the front door. She slid the bolt back with a soft metallic click. Darkness greeted her outside. The breeze was faint, but cooler than the air in the room. She exhaled in relief. She had just opened more than a door. She'd opened a gateway. As she pulled the door wider, she expected nothing unusual: the familiar compound, the dusty ground, the small guava tree near the wall, the landlord's old wooden bench. Instead, everything inside her froze. Just a short distance from the doorway, right in front of her, something stood. A huge bat. Not hanging upside down. Not flapping in the air. Not crawling. Standing. Upright. Like some twisted version of a human. Its wings were folded inward, crossed almost like arms over a chest. Its claws dug into the sandy ground. Its head tilted slightly, as if it had been waiting for her all along. But the worst part was the eyes. A sick, murky gray. Foggy. Lifeless. Blind-looking, but somehow staring straight into her soul. It was the kind of stare that makes your skin crawl and your heart forget how to beat. Amora's breath caught. She couldn't move. "Jesus," she whispered, barely loud enough to hear. The bat responded as if it heard her. Slowly, unnaturally slow, it lifted its head, like a creature stretching after a long, tiring journey. Then its gaze locked fully onto her eyes. That was all it took. Her vision smeared, then collapsed into darkness. A sharp ringing screamed inside her ears. Her knees gave way. Her tongue went numb. Her right hand curled inward against her will. A cold surge shot through the left side of her body. Darkness closed over her as though someone dragged a black cloth down over her face. She tried to scream. She tried to blink. She tried to move. Nothing answered. Her body crumpled backward onto the floor with a small, helpless thud. Her nightdress tangled around her legs. Her fingers twitched once, then stilled. The bat washed. Silent. Calm in a way that felt wrong. Then it slowly spread its wings, lifted into the air, and vanished into the night. Amora lay there, blind, voiceless, half paralyzed and alone on the cold floor. From that moment, her life was never the same. The first thing Amora truly registered was not sound, but vibration. Her mother's scream shook the air. Even though her ears sounded muffled, like everything was happening inside a metal drum, she felt a panic. "Amora! Jesus! Amora!" Mama Ife jumped out of bed. She rushed across the room, flung the door open wider, and froze. Her only child lay twisted on the floor, eyes wide open but seeing nothing. Her body stiff. One hand curled. Her gaze blank and empty. "Amora, talk to me. Amora, my child, what happened to you?" Amora tried. Her tongue felt like it had turned to stone, her throat locked, her eyes full of darkness. She couldn't see her mother, but she could feel her hands trembling on her cheeks. "Who did this to you?" "My child, talk to me." Still, silence. Not by choice, by force. Her right hand remained bent awkwardly. Her left side tingled with numbness. Even her eyelids refused to obey properly. Neighbors rushed out with lamps and phone flashlights, encircling Amora's body. What happened? When did she fall? She opened the door at this time. You. This is dry season. Oh. Voices clashed and overlapped. Mama Ife only heard the thunder of her own heart. Help me carry her, I beg you. Let's take her to the hospital. Two men lifted Amora carefully. She let out a weak groan that sent fear creeping up everyone's spine. At New Mercy Clinic, doctors did everything they could. Tests, blood work, brain scans, neurological checks, one after another. Everything came back normal. Medically, nothing seems wrong with her, one doctor finally said. Mama Ife snapped. How can you say nothing is wrong? Look at my daughter. The doctor sighed, helpless. Maybe she fainted from stress or heat. She should be fine soon. But she wasn't. Because that night was only the beginning. 3 days after they returned home, things got worse. On the first night, at around 12:47 a.m., Amora suddenly let out a scream. Not a small cry, a long, raw, soul-tearing scream that filled the entire compound. She screamed until her mother ran and grabbed her, shaking. What is it, my child? What is it? Amora's blind eyes were wide, her body shivering as if something icy slithered over her skin. Her lips moved, but no words formed. Her voice was still trapped. From that night, her screams became nightly. At first, neighbors assumed it was trauma. Then things took a darker turn. One afternoon, Amora touched a pot of fresh soup that Mama Ife had just finished cooking. Within minutes, the soup began to bubble strangely. An awful sour smell filled the kitchen. The soup spoiled instantly. Hey! God, what is happening to my child? Mama Ife cried, tearing at her wrapper. Another day, Amora was led past a small mirror hanging near the window. There was a sudden sharp crack. The mirror shattered from within. No one had touched it. Visitors started arriving to check on her. Some left whispering that they felt a cold breeze circle them when they entered the room, like a shadow had brushed past them. Some people refused to return at all. Then came the worst blow. The office called. They had tried reaching Amora, not knowing what had happened. With shaking hands, Mama Ife answered. Madam, we are very sorry, but we can't keep the position open any longer. The job Amora had prayed for, fought for, and treasured, gone in a single call. Mama Ife wept into the phone, begged, explained, pleaded. But it was done. Meanwhile, Amora's nights turned into living nightmares. In her dreams, she saw bats, many of them, circling above her in a giant dark emptiness. It felt like a forest without trees, an open field without sky. Disembodied voices whispered her name. Oma, Ra. Oma, Ra. The voices sounded inhuman, echoing from deep caverns. Sometimes she would see a faint figure among them, a tall, thin woman whose limbs were too long, moving barefoot like an animal. Whenever Amora woke, her bed trembled beneath her, her chest heaving. Her mother would rush in, gather her in her arms. Who is chasing you? What are you seeing? What happened that night? But Amora still couldn't speak. She could only sob and tremble. By the end of the second week, the community no longer treated it as an ordinary illness. They whispered. Something is following her. She opened her door during witch hour. This one is spiritual. Only God knows what she saw. Fear lived in every mama. One morning, after yet another night of screaming, a neighbor slipped quietly into the room. She knelt beside Mama Ife and whispered. Go and call Mama Nidi. This matter is no longer ordinary. She can see beyond what we see. The name alone made Mama Ife's heart tighten. She had avoided going spiritual, clinging to hospitals and tests. But now she had no strength left to argue. Mama Nidi lived only a few compounds away. She was old, but strong, with a presence that demanded silence when she entered any space. People said her eyes didn't just see this world, they saw behind it. When she stepped into Amora's small room, she didn't greet anyone. She simply stood in the doorway, breathing quietly, watching. Then, softly, she asked, "Who opened this door at 3:30 a.m.? The room went still. Mama Ife burst into tears. "It was my daughter," she confessed. She couldn't sleep. The heat was too much. She only wanted a little breeze. Mama Nidi closed her eyes, inhaled deeply, then exhaled slowly and nodded. She walked to Amora and sat beside her. Amora flinched, she could feel the woman's presence. The elder placed her palm gently on Amora's forehead. "Her blindness is not ordinary," she murmured. She lifted her head and addressed the room. "Dry season is when witches walk freely. The heat carries them. The wind spreads their scent. Between midnight and 4 a.m., they return from their covens." She pointed at the doorway. "That is the path they use." Mama Ife covered her mouth in horror. The elder continued. "Witch bats sometimes pretend to be ordinary bats, but they don't behave like normal animals. They walk on the ground. They stand like people. Whoever sees them at that hour without spiritual covering becomes marked." She stroked Amora's cheek. "Especially if the person looks into their eyes." Gasps filled the room. Amora trembled harder. Mama Ife cried again. "Amora, my daughter, what did you see that night?" Mama Nidi answered for her. "She saw a witch, not a mere bat. A witch in bat form, returning from a gathering." She closed her eyes again and whispered something under her breath. The moment Amora met her eyes, the witch transferred affliction. She held up 3 fingers. Blindness. Silence. Misfortune. She marked her. Someone in the room asked, voice shaking. "Marked for what?" Mama Nidi opened her eyes. "For feeding." The room went cold. "This kind of witch feeds on people spiritually. She has chosen your daughter." Mama Ife dropped to her knees, crying. "Please, Mama, anything. Save my child." The elder sighed. "This type of attack doesn't respond to medicine. It's not fever. It's not stress. It's a spiritual wound." She stood slowly. "If we do nothing, what she has lost so far is only the beginning." She hovered a hand over Amora's chest. "The witch will return." A chill rippled through the room. "What happened that night was only the first bite," she said. "The real battle starts tonight." That night, Mama Nidi remained in Amora's room long after everyone else had fallen quiet. A small kerosene lantern glowed in one corner, stretching thin shadows over the cracked walls. The house itself felt tense, as though listening. Amora lay on a raffia mat, blind eyes open, seeing nothing. Her breath came slow and strange, almost unnatural. The elder sat cross-legged beside her, walking stick across her lap, a worn leather bag of spiritual tools resting at her feet. She barely moved. She simply watched the air, listening, sensing. Outside, the wind rose, driving dust against the windows with soft taps. The harmattan breeze whistled faintly, wrapped around something heavy and invisible. By 1:45 a.m., the house was unnaturally silent. By 1:55 a.m., it changed. Amora's body jerked violently. In the sitting room, Mama Ife jumped up and ran toward the bedroom, but Mama Nidi raised a hand without turning. "Don't enter," she said. "Tonight is not for you." Inside, Amora convulsed again, harder. Her pupils shifted rapidly under her eyelids, as if she were watching something horrific in her mind. Her fingers twisted, legs stiffened, chest rose and fell irregularly. "It has begun," Mama Nidi whispered. Then came a sound at the window, a harsh scrape, like claws dragging along wood, followed by the heavy thump of something landing on the ledge. Her eyes narrowed. A shadow shifted behind the glass. Slowly, it took shape. There it was. The bat. The same one Amora had seen. It was perched on the window ledge. Not hanging, not upside down, standing. Hunched like a human figure. Its wings folded at its sides like arms. Its head tilted downward, gazing into the room. Amora's body convulsed the instant it appeared. She has come to finish her work, Mama Needy whispered. The bat then lifted its face, showing those grey, cloudy, dead-looking eyes. The same eyes that had taken Amora's sight. The same eyes that had marked her for death. It released a piercing screech. The sound was hollow and sharp, rattling the window frame. A strong blast of wind burst into the room as if from nowhere. Papers flew, curtains whipped, and the faint lantern flame died. Amora's body stiffened like wood. Her fingers curled inward. Her breath hitched. In the sitting room, Mama Ife hammered on the door. What is happening? Mama Needy. Amora. The elder didn't answer. The battle had already started. She reached into her leather bag quickly, a small clay pot containing crushed charcoal, a bundle of dried leaves tied with red thread, and a calabash with silver grey powder. These weren't ordinary village items, they were ancient protection tools passed down for midnight afflictions that hospitals could never treat. She placed charcoal into a small metal dish and blew until it glowed. She laid the dried leaves on top. They burned slowly, filling the room with heavy, earthy smoke. The witch bat screeched again, louder, shaking the wooden door. Amora's blind eyes rolled back. Her chest heaved. Mama Needy sprinkled the silver powder across the doorway and around Amora's mat. The powder shimmered faintly in the dimness like scattered fireflies. She began to chant under her breath, an old protective incantation, used only when confronting a returning witch. Outside, the bat lunged at the window, trying to get in. Its wings spread impossibly wide, throwing a massive shadow into the room. It hurled itself at the invisible barrier formed by the smoke and powder, screeching in pain. The glass rattled, the wall shuddered, the air grew freezing. Amora gasped, and suddenly, for the first time in days, her voice cracked through the darkness. Leave me. In the other room, her mother cried out in shock. Mama Needy raised her voice, chanting louder. She scattered more powder, drawing circles in the air, pushing the creature back. The bat shrieked, its form flickering between bat and a thin, long-limbed woman's shadow. Then, with one final hideous cry, it fled. One violent flap, a rush of cold wind, and it vanished into the night. The room fell silent. Amora collapsed into stillness, panting, drenched in sweat, trembling. The spell is broken, halfway, Mama Needy whispered. But she is still blind. The battle is not over. She turned to Mama Ife. From tonight, for the next 3 nights, you must follow my instructions exactly. She listed them. Every window must be closed before midnight. No air from outside, witches ride on air. No one must open the door before 4 a.m., or better, 4:30 a.m. Not even to peep. Burn protective incense throughout the night to block spiritual passageways. Keep Amora indoors until after sunrise, witches draw power before dawn. Mama Ife nodded through tears. We will do everything. Just save my daughter. That night, the cleansing began. Mama Needy placed Amora at the center of the room. She drew a circle around her with white chalk, a spiritual barrier, not decoration. She burned herbs that filled the air with a thick, sharp scent meant to block dark forces. The first night, nothing happened. Amora slept deeply. The elder did not sleep. She watched the corners of the room for any shift in the air. The second night, the wind raged outside. The roof groaned. Yet the witch didn't appear. She is getting weaker, Mama Needy said softly. Then came the third night, the night everything would end. The room was dim, glowing with orange lights from burning herbs. Amora lay calmly inside the chalk circle. Her breathing was steady. The elder sprinkled the silver powder again, tracing protective lines around her. Her chant grew slow and rhythmic, washing over the small room. At 3:10 a.m., the air changed once more. A strange cold seeped into the house. The lantern flickered wildly. "Mama, something is coming," Mama Ife whispered. "Yes," the elder replied. "She doesn't want to let go." A heavy thud hit the roof. Everyone jolted. Another thud. Then a dragging sound scraped across the tin sheets, like claws raking metal. Chickens in the backyard scattered, squawking in panic. "What is that?" Mama Ife choked. "It is her," Mama Nidi said calmly. "This is the last battle." The roof creaked. Dust rained from the ceiling. Then, a crash outside, beside the house. Everyone wanted to rush to the back door, but the elder lifted her staff. "Do not open any door until I say so." They waited, hearts pounding. After a long moment, she finally nodded. "Open it." Mama Ife pushed the back door gently. Everyone froze. Lying on the ground by the wall was the bat. Dead. Its wings were twisted grotesquely. Its body lay motionless. Its once misty eyes were closed forever. Mama Nidi stepped closer and tapped it with her staff. "When the witch dies in the spirit," she said softly, "her physical form must follow." She turned to Mama Ife. "It is finished." Inside the house, something miraculous was happening. Amora's blind eyes fluttered. She blinked once, twice. Then she sat up suddenly, gasping. "Mama! Mama! I can see," she shouted. "My child! Jesus!" My Mama Ife ran to her, collapsing at her daughter's side, crying and laughing at the same time. "Child can see." Amora stretched her fingers, her hand was no longer stiff. She moved her legs, the paralysis was gone. Her voice came out clear. "Mama, it's over. I can see you." Mama Nidi stood at the doorway, eyes calm. "The mark is broken," she said. For the first time in many nights, the house was truly quiet. No strange wind. No whispers. No moving shadows. No cold draft sneaking under the door. It was as if the darkness that had followed Amora finally lost its path. She saw the world again, the sky, the dusty street, the guava tree, barefoot children chasing each other in the compound. Everything felt like a miracle. Her mother watched her as if afraid that blinking might erase it all. It wasn't just Amora's eyes that were restored. Her voice returned completely. Her strength came back. Her touch no longer spoiled food. Mira stayed whole when she walked past. That heavy, unseen chain she carried had fallen away. She was whole. By noon, the entire community had heard. Neighbors who once whispered behind closed doors now came openly. Some brought food. Some arrived with tears. Some even touched her arm carefully, as if to confirm she was real. Her story shook them, young, old, even those who had always laughed at talk of spirits and witches. One elder stood and said, "Our own fathers warned us. Dry season is not a time to be careless. Spirits return from their journeys before dawn. Witches move before their shadows settle." He shook his head. "That girl is lucky. It could have been any of us." Another elder pointed at the sky. "From today, nobody opens their door before 4 a.m. Not even to pick something outside. Not even to feel breeze. We must protect our homes." Everyone agreed. No one wanted to risk seeing what Amora had seen. As for Amora, healing took time, quiet, patient time. Her dreams became normal again. No more swarms of bats. No more voices calling her name from the dark. She slept peacefully, deeply. Her appetite returned. So did her laughter. Slowly, her spirit brightened again. But she was not the same person she had been before. She became careful, sensitive to the hours between midnight and dawn. Even after her healing, she refused to sleep with the curtains open. She refused to step outside before sunrise. Sometimes she still shivered when a shadow slipped past her window. "You are safe now," Mama Needy told her. "The witch that marked you is gone." Her journey ended the moment her body hit the ground that night. Still, the lesson stayed. One evening, as Amora and her mother sat outside, a group of children skipped by, singing, "Don't open door before 4. Witches walk from shore to shore. Spirits roam till morning light. Hide your eyes from cursed sight." Amora listened, half smiling, half remembering. Her mother nudged her. "You see, your story has become a warning for others." Amora sighed gently. "If it keeps someone else safe," she said, "then maybe everything I went through was not in vain." Mama Ife squeezed her hand. "My child, life teaches hard lessons, but it guides us too. You survived what many do not." Amora knew she was blessed. Blessed to survive an encounter that could have blinded her forever, stolen her destiny, or even claimed her life. The bat had not been just an animal. It was a returning witch in disguise, one that could have taken everything from her. But she had something many victims did not. A mother who refused to give up. A community that eventually chose to stand with her. And an elder who understood invisible things. Weeks passed. Amora fully returned to herself. Her company called back. They told her she could resume her job whenever she was ready. Her confidence slowly returned. Her beauty, once overshadowed by affliction, shone again. Her walk was steady. Her laughter brightened the compound. But one thing never changed. She never, ever opened her door before 4 a.m. again. The community held onto that rule as well. Even when cooler seasons came, even when years passed and details faded, the lesson remained. Some things, they decided, are not worth testing. As Mama Needy always said, "Let sleeping spirits pass." Not every shadow is just a shadow. Not every creature is what it appears. Not every night is safe. People listened. They still do. And every dry season, when the harmattan makes the air sharp and the night strangely quiet, no door in Old Umuchi opens before 4 a.m. Because after what happened to Amora, nobody wants to look into eyes that were never meant for human sight. Moral of the story, besties. This tale reminds us that not every creature you see at night is ordinary. What looks small may carry a spirit older than your ancestors. Dry season carries spiritual traffic you're better off avoiding. Between midnight and 4 a.m., doors are not just wood and metal, they are gateways. Once opened, you can't always control what crosses through. Some doors invite what your physical eyes cannot see. Some shadows move with purpose. Some footsteps don't belong to humans. Darkness has its own roads. If you are not strong enough to walk them, don't step onto them. Now tell me, have you ever heard stories of witches or strange beings moving at night, especially during dry season? Do you know anyone who has had a strange, unexplainable experience around midnight? Thanks for watching. Please like, share, comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more African story.